Are you in touch with your kids' emotions or their moods? Well, if you're not, or maybe you don't even know, you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Carly Myers, your friendly stress management expert, and I'm the founder and leader here at the Stress Less Company, where we help female leaders who are overworked and exhausted find that sense of peace and freedom that they desire. And this month on the Stress Less Show, we're going to be talking about at home learning and pandemic parenting. And I brought on an incredible guest, Dr. Michelle Natinsky. I hope I got that right. Did I get that right?
You did.
Yes. Who is a licensed psychologist and licensed specialist in school psychology in private practice in Austin, Texas. Now, through one on one consultation, classes, and workshops, and speaking engagements, she provides parents with practical strategies for bringing more joy and ease to the feel and flow of family life. And as an educator, psychologist, and mother, she is passionate about supporting parents in raising kids who are happy, healthy, and well prepared for life. Welcome to the show, Michelle. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Carly. I'm thrilled to be with you today.
Absolutely. I think the pandemic's got me a little tongue twisted this morning, so I'm excited. Thank you for your grace, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about how you got into this line of work, because this is a really important work that you're doing.
Absolutely. So I've always had sort of one foot in education and one foot in psychology. And so school psychology was the perfect blend of the two. Earlier in my career, I worked in the public schools, community mental health centers, and in the residential treatment setting. But about 5 years ago, I really saw a great need in the community. And I shifted my model from working directly with kids and adolescents to supporting the adults who have significant relationships with them, mostly parents, but also teachers. And what I have found is that it's an extremely empowering model to equip the adults with the skills that they need so that direct service, in some cases, is no longer necessary for the kid. And I have also learned to be really flexible about the way that I deliver my services. So sometimes individual consultation is the just right method. Sometimes classes and workshops or speaking engagements open up possibilities to reach more parents. And I can also add being a guest on podcasts like this one. So that's a little bit about how I got to where I am and what I'm up to.
Yeah, I love that. And I think about the work that you're doing, it's really a positive ripple effect, right? The parents and can affect the children, and the children can affect other children. And I mean, the ripple effect, it doesn't matter what age, really. It can go across the board. So I love that approach in that direction. So if we are one of those parents, we're listening in and we're like, I don't really know if I'm fully in touch with my kids' emotions or these moods. I'm like, how do I read them, especially with teenagers?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you encourage in terms of navigating these exceptional times from, a perspective of parent child?
Yeah, it's such an important thing to be thinking about, and amidst a lot of challenges that we have right now. What I really would like to encourage parents to be thinking about is how they can nurture the whole child. And what I mean by that is, let's not maybe obsess about the challenges of virtual learning or quote unquote lost educational gains through this pandemic. What we really need to be thinking about is, how is this child going to come out of this experience? With their physical well being intact? Are they getting enough movement in the day? With their emotional well being intact? With their sense of purpose and agency in the world? And all of these are important. And different families are struggling, and different kids are struggling in different ways. But for me, I'd really like to prioritize emotional functioning and ensuring that mood and behavior and care of self are the priorities, that we're supporting our kids in, and that we're communicating with them about their moods, their emotions, and their care of themselves. So, for example, just to make this concrete, you know, missing out learning how to multiply fractions isn't really going to matter if a child comes out of the pandemic depressed, anxious, with an eating disorder, or having thoughts of self harm. So, my tip for parents is to think about where and when you are putting your energy in relationship during your daily interactions with your kids. And if upon reflection, you think or you realize that it's maybe more negative or misguided than you'd like it to be, the good news is you can shift and change that today. Even just thinking now as you're listening to this about how you can put more energy towards positive moments
Yeah.
and the good things that are happening.
Yeah, I love that. It's so funny. So we had earlier on the show Dr. Stephen Green, who he's the owner of Make the Grade, and he's focused on those outcomes that we were just talking
Mhm.
about. But one of his main tips was in navigating the pandemic was actually structure, and the point of that not being control, but the point being if we're worried, if we're worried about where we're going to learn, who we're going to learn from, if we're worried about, in my interpretation, like we're worried, period. Like that's the
Mhm.
feeling, the
Mhm.
anxiety. If we've got that, then we're not even at our highest functioning self. We're not even able to, bring in that uh if I'm, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the prefrontal
Mhm.
cortex, right? The lid is filtered,
Absolutely.
right? We're not able to access that if we don't have that kind of emotional foundation in place.
Absolutely. I agree. And that's why I'm suggesting that parents really think about the emotional well-being of their kids and focus on that and to communicate to their kids that that's what is most important right now. How are you taking care of yourself and making the most of every day, which
Yeah.
which undoubtedly has challenges.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that this perspective, right? Because it can kind of create that ripple effect through all of these other areas, whether it's virtual schooling or trying to navigate supporting our kids with social life, missing their friends and
Absolutely.
all of that. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, for those of you who are listening right now, we're curious, both of us. What are some positive moments that you've had with your kids during the pandemic? Right. Speaking of focusing on what's going right, right? So what are some of those positive moments that you've had with your kids during the pandemic? Let us know in the comments because we want to share the love. We want to hear. Maybe you'll even give us some ideas of what we can do on our end.
Absolutely. Please do.
Please, right? So if you're feeling overworked and exhausted, I've got some good news. The Stress Less Company works with high achieving executives, business owners, and managers just like you to find that sense of peace and freedom that they desire. And as a result of our work together, they not only learn how to deepen their spiritual connection, whatever that means to them, they also learn the tactical tools that they need so that they can experience more free time, more efficiency, and yes, even more prosperity. Sounds pretty great, right? Well, you can apply for a complimentary stress assessment today to start the conversation about working together. Simply visit stresslessco.com for slash apply for more information and to apply. That's stresslessco.com slash apply. Now, this concludes this week's episode of the Stress Less Show. But before we close it out, I want to give you, Michelle, an opportunity to share where can we find you if we're feeling like, oh my gosh, I really resonated with what you shared. I need to do some deeper work. Where can we find you?
So you can find me at my website, which is www.dr Natinsky.com. I'm also on Facebook at Michelle Natinsky, PhD. Same for LinkedIn. And I would love to hear from any of you about not only the challenges, but like we said a minute ago, about the positive moments that you've had with your kids during the pandemic and maybe even how you plan to bring that forward into life once the pandemic is resolved.
Beautiful. I love that. And we'll make sure for everyone who's listening, and maybe you didn't catch the spelling or missed something, don't worry. It'll all be in the show notes. So make sure you scroll down and check those out. Head on over to her website, LinkedIn, wherever it resonates. So if you've enjoyed this week's episode, let us know by leaving us a review, subscribing, or if you're listening in on social, by liking, commenting, and of course, sharing. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye now.